Hey guys, what's up? Flabby Bacon here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cardboard pinball machine. So the materials you're going to need for this is a box that's about this big, another box, doesn't really matter what size that box is as long as it's not too small, around this size for material, then a cutting board to cut on, X-Acto knife, Sharpie, glue gun, lots of glue sticks, scissors, tacks, and elastics. Let's get building. So the first step is to open up the box, then take your X-Acto knife, and if you are a kid, make sure you get your parents to help you with this part, because X-Acto knives are extremely sharp. Put it on your cutting board, like this, and then all we're doing is just cutting off all of these sides. Okay guys, so your box should look like this. It's like a box type looking box. And the next step is to cut these two things out. So just take your X-Acto knife and go on the very edge, cut them all like that. Unless your box doesn't have these, in which case you'd be very lucky. But yeah, just do that with both of these. Okay, so the next step is to make an entire base for this, where everything will actually be placed. So in order to do that, one thing I forgot to say, you need a piece of cardboard like this. I mean, not quite this big, but just a tip to get cardboard for free. Usually at your local home hardware, there's somewhere around that area, like not in the store, but outside, there's like a big spot where people can go to dump cardboard. It's like in like a trash can type thing, and then in there's always lots of cardboard that you can use. So yeah, gotta make a middle area for this. Alright, so in order to do that, take your marker. Now find a flat spot like this where there isn't very many wrinkles. That's why I'm not going at the side. This spot doesn't have very many wrinkles. So I'm gonna use it right here. Now, just take your marker. Just go along all the sides. Okay, so I went ahead and cut that out, and now I just had to trim the sides a little bit, because obviously if you trace around the outside, you're going to have to trim it down a little bit, because it'll be a bit bigger. Now, let's put that inside of there. Okay, so now to make the actual flippers, we're going to start by taking one of these pieces. Probably a smaller one would be a good idea. And then just lay the flipper down like this. Then just trace all the way around it. And then repeat that step 4 times. Okay, so now that you have all 4 of those cut out, just go ahead, take your X-Acto knife, and cut them out. Okay, so now that you got all those cut out, take the nicest looking one, put it down, and trace out 4 more. Alright, so now that you got them all all traced, go ahead, cut them all out. Okay, I just discovered that it's way easier to use scissors for this, so don't use your X-Acto knife for this job. Just take your scissors, cut out the shape, and it's so much easier. Okay, so now that you have all 8 cut out, just go ahead and pick the 2 nicest ones. So I'm going to pick this one, and this one. Put those aside. Then grab your template, put it on top of the flipper, like this. Make sure it's all lined up good. Grab your pencil, put it in the middle of the flipper, and poke a hole in it. And do that with 6 of them, except for the 2 nice ones that you put aside. Do that with all of them. You just poke a little hole in it. Then you take your pencil, go through the rest of the way. Should look like that. Just go ahead and do that with all of those 6. Okay, so now that you have all the holes put in it, take your glue gun and sandwich 3 of them together. Now for the last one, just make sure you put it on the right side. Determine which side is the top. For me, it's this side. Take one of your nice pieces and then sandwich it on top. Okay, so I have both the flippers now. And now what you're going to want to do is just sand them both down. So just take a piece of sandpaper and just make them all the same size. Okay, so now we're going to make the part that's actually going to make the flipper move. So what we're going to do is just make a line right down here, a little bit less than an inch, then cut that off. Now measure that so that it's in half, then cut it. Now make 4 more of these, all the same size. Okay, so once you have 6 of these little squares out, then just do this with all of them like we were doing before. Just go ahead and do that with all of them. Okay, so now you should have all of these pieces, and then all I did was I just took a piece of dowel, and then through those holes I just put hot glue in the bottom one, and then stuck the dowel inside, and I did that with both of them. So the next thing I did in our actual play board, I measured 4 inches up, then 5 inches across, then put a hole for the flipper to go in, then did the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so next find out the spot where you want both of those flippers to be, line them up, and then I'm just going to use some tape to put tape across here to keep them from moving while we're working on the other side. Okay, so I went ahead and taped those both on. Now what you're going to want to do is flip it over, and then on the 2 dowels, you put these things on top like this, and then next we will glue them on. So gonna glue them on, adding angle like that. Okay, so now it should look like this, and then on the back should look like this. So now when this moves on the back, the flippers on the front will also move. So next we're gonna work on the part that will actually push the flipper to make it move. Okay, so we need to make holes in here and here so we can have another dowel that sticks up that attaches to a little push thing that will, so that it will be able to be elastic powered. So let's take a razor blade, put it in the middle like this. Okay, so I just cut two 1-inch dowels, and then they're just gonna go in each of these little holes right there. So let's fill it up with glue. And we're gonna want to put lots of glue here, because this is where the elastics will be connected to. So there's gonna be a lot of tension on these spots. So we're gonna want to put lots of glue. Okay, so now that these are nice and secure, I just measured up 1 inch on either side, and that's where there's going to be a little holder to put the thing through that's going to hit this and move the flipper. So let's work on this part right here. Okay, so I made this little thing, and I also taped these back into the position that you want them. And then this is going to go right here, so that this can't go any further, and it's also going to keep the piece that we're going to put inside of here in one spot, and it's also going to have the piece that will be attached to an elastic. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that right there. Okay, so it should look like this now, and now we're going to make the actual piece that goes inside of here. So I traced out this shape, and it is a little bit less than 1 inch wide and 6 inches long. And then I'm going to cut that out and make that same shape 4 more times. So I've made 4 more of those, and now I'm just going to go ahead, sandwich them together like this. Okay, so now that I have them all together, I'm just going to go ahead and sand it down so that it fits more smoothly. Okay, so after fitting it back in, I realized that I actually needed to add one more, so I put 5 layers on it. And now I'm just going to make 1 more of these. So I made the other one, and then I also just rounded off the tips. So all I did there was just took an X-Acto knife, put it out, and then just cut off all the edges. And then that'll just make it a lot smoother when it goes inside of this. So if I stick this one in, then that's what that does. So now we're going to put a little stopping thing right here so that this can't come out. It'll be stopped, and then after we'll put the elastics on. Okay, so I went ahead and put stoppers on each of them. So now when you try to push it out, it can't come out. So did that on both sides. Now we're going to make a little thing that the elastic attaches to. Okay, so to do that, I just cut these 2 little pieces of popsicle stick, and then they're going to go on right here. So don't glue it to this side, because I just realized it'll be a lot less stress and these will move easier if the sticks are on this side. So put both the sticks onto these sides, then the elastics will go over top of that. Alright, so it should look like this now. Make sure both of these are reinforced like that with lots of glue. Then all you do, you take an elastic, you put it on here and on here. Then you do the same on the other side and put 2 of them like that and like that. And now look at this. Alright, so now we're gonna actually put the board inside, but first we gotta just glue this together, because when we took those 2 little other pieces out earlier, that affected this not being held together, but that's fine. So just put glue along there and do the same on the other side. Alright, so I did that, and now I just placed this in 2 inches deep, I think it was. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 2 inches deep. And then now I'm going to glue that back on, glue the sides on, and cut out the sides for the little buttons. Alright guys, here's what it looks like now. And next, we're going to make little spots for these sides. Alright, so I cut out these 2 little pieces, and then I'm just going to glue them to each side of these. So let's do that. So I've glued those on like this. And now we're gonna make the plunger. So we're gonna start by taking this dowel and then cutting it down about 3/4 of the way, maybe a little bit less than that. Alright, so here's what the plunger looks like so far. So I just took the shorter end of the dowel, sanded off the end because I had sawed it off, then I put this little piece of cardboard on it, and then I made a hole right in here that it fits in, and it'll go like that. Okay, so next what I did was I stuck a tack in the middle of this dowel, then I stuck 2 tacks up here and then put 2 elastics around it. Now all I have to do is hot glue the elastics to this tack, hot glue these tacks to the cardboard, and hot glue that part of the elastic to those tacks. Alright, here's the plunger that I made, and I'm gonna cover it up over top because it doesn't look very appealing, but it does work very good. So just pulls back and releases. And obviously this is flat right now, so it won't work that great, but I can kind of demonstrate it. There we go. Alright, so next I built this little sort of wall casing around it, and then put the side rails on either side. And this one, why it's cut out there, is this is gonna go up more onto another platform thing. You'll see what I mean later. And then I'm gonna put 2 little pieces of cardboard that like go towards this so that the marble stays in that spot, and cover these up with cardboard. Okay, so I made 2 little guide rails here, and now all that does, when this gets dropped in here, then it can't get off course with this. I'll just tip this up so that you can kind of see it, and then I can shoot it. And then I put cardboard on top of this side, and then I'm going to do the same over here. Alright, so I've done both sides now, and with this one, I extended out a piece this way that the ball comes out of once it gets shot out of the plunger, and then it's going to go on to another level up here. But before we do that, let's make it so that this thing is actually at an angle. Alright, so I cut off this 2.5 inch wide piece of cardboard, and now I'm just going to flip this over and bring it to the back. So that's the back side, so this side. And then I'm just going to glue it onto the underside like that. And then that will give us the incline. Alright, so I glued that on, and then I just made this little brace thing that I glued on so that it'll stay on better. And now it's at an incline. And then now when we shoot the marble out, it'll work a lot better. Alright, so next we get to start making obstacles for this. Alright, so for the first obstacle we're gonna take this piece of cardboard, we're gonna put it on the ground, then we're gonna take the pinball machine, flip it over, line it up with the end like that on either side, and then trace off on the sides where we need to cut so that it fits perfectly. Now you should have 2 marks like this. There's one right there, one right there, and then I'm just going to cut those off. Alright, so I've cut that down to size, and it's going to go up here, but it's too big right now, so I'm going to cut this about right in half. Alright, so now it should look like this when you put it on. And now we're going to make little cutouts for it like that. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. Alright, so next what I did, I measured from here to here, and that was 2.5 inches. So then I took this piece of cardboard and from here to here measured 2.5 inches, then here to here 2.5 inches, made a mark right there, and then used a compass to make a perfect circle right there. Then I did the exact same thing with this circle, and then from here to here I measured 2 inches, then from here to here I measured 2 inches, and then between those 2 points I used the compass to make another perfect circle, well, semicircle. Now I'm just going to cut those 3 out. Okay, so I cut out these holes, and now I just use the compass to make 2 more little holes that the ball will be able to fit through, and now I'm going to cut those out. Alright, so I got those holes cut out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extend this up, put it around there, down here, around here, over here, and around that one. So to do that, I cut out this long skinny strip, and now I'm just going to take it from the end and bend it like that. And now this will be able to fit around here like that. And then it'll go on to turn, go over there, and yeah, and I'm going to glue that on. Alright, so it should look like this now. And now we're just going to glue this on at the top right here. And I measured 1/2 inch down, and I'm going to glue it on right there. Alright, so here's what it looks like now. I glued that on, and now I just cut out this little ramp. It's going to slide in here and go up to there, so it'll be like that. So I'm just going to glue that in. So before I glued it on, I just cut it at an angle like this, so that it'll be a lot smoother when the ball runs up it. Alright, so I got the ramp put on, and I also switched this little plastic ball out for the milk jug lid, because this was just too flimsy and it fell off, so I put this on instead, and I'll show you how it works so far. And that's the problem, one of the problems that we have to fix. So, well, it's not really a problem. I'm gonna fix it anyways, but we gotta put a wall here, and then we also gotta take a scrap piece of the stuff that we used for this, and then just make it curve right around here, so that the ball will curve there too, and it won't just hit the edge and go back in. So let's do those things. Alright, so I built up a little wall right here, so that the ball can't hop over it, and then I also curved this around, put a little bumper right here, so show you how it works. There you go. now I just made a little ramp here, and then I did the same thing I did with that one to make the end flush, and then I glued it on, and now I took this piece of cardboard, I put it beside it, like that, and then I grabbed a pencil and just traced along there, and then I got that shape, and now I'm just going to cut that out and do it twice for each side. Alright, so I put the sides on this, and also did everything else. I put a fidget spinner here, and then I just put 2 bumpers here, and then back here is a multi-ball function, so the ball sits right there, and then when it gets hit by a ball, then it comes out, and then I also made this rail, and yeah, now it's time for some gameplay. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, please leave a like, and also leave a comment if you want. And please also subscribe. Till next time, see ya.